Welcome everybody to Pint in the paddock. We're here in the beautiful sunshine on the track in Italy. We've got some of the most important people in international karting basically that have come to join me, all team bosses. We're going to just have a discussion about some of the elements of karting, the class that we've got racing here today, and some of the young drivers that have been coming through and what really entails a team boss's role. So we'll go around the table and introduce everybody. First of all, we've got Stephen Armstrong is here from Vital Motorsport. We've got Piers Sexton, who comes from Fusion Motorsport, Peter Kalman from KMS. They're on the left-hand side, so try and remember the names. Then we've got from Merlin, Renato Merlin. We've got Nick de Bruin from PDB. I've also got Aaron Lim, who's here from RL Karting. So, first of all, hello, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
That's how we start these things. These don't think are going to last too long, are they, today? Because it's very hot. Stephen, let's start with you. First of all, as a team boss, what's the most rewarding thing about being a team boss? I'm sure there are plenty of difficult things, but what do you find most rewarding? What keeps you going?
To win.
Yeah.
Win's the only thing that makes it really rewarding. And obviously progress for the drivers that aren't really ready to win. So we all have goals at the start of the year and the weekends, but we all know when we progress properly, and hopefully that leads to a win. That's the main thing. I'm sure that's what we're all here for.
Yeah. But Piers, we know that karting, motorsport, there are a lot of things you can control, a lot of things you can't control as well. So the winning is actually relatively rare, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, but it's what keeps us all going. In fact, it's probably 90% disappointment and 10% enjoyment. Yeah, not enjoyment, but
it's only one who wins.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one winner. But following on from what Steve said, I think really that to take a driver who is perhaps at the back of the grid and then eventually win with them is more rewarding than anything else for us, to teach. So
the development of the young drivers is something that we'll get onto. But I guess that's part of your role as a team boss, is to be able to deal with each driver differently. Some people will respond differently to how you try and manage them, won't they?
Yeah, and special now here in this race where we get drivers from all over the world and they come from different schools, and you have to change the life in 5 days for them. That's a little bit not easy, and you have to adapt yourself for the same way how they react and everything. So like we said, there's only one winner, and all the other drivers, important that you support them on the way that they are happy and they go home with a lot of experience from this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And Renato, we do get these drivers coming through. I mean, you look on a Formula 1 grid, you look on a Formula 3 grid, and almost everybody has come through karting. So what you're teaching the young children here is so important to the future.
The karting is the best school that you can have for sure to progress in motorsport. We have some very good example lately, like Max Verstappen, or the best of Ayrton Senna. Everyone is coming from there. So for sure, karting is forever the best school in motorsport.
And Nick, you've seen both sides. You're obviously involved in car racing as well. You've seen karting. It's not just the driving style, is it, and what they learn as drivers? It's also the engineering side and understanding the mechanics.
Everything, because in karting everything goes much quicker. You make a small change and it shows straight away, and in car racing you have to wait and then you go again, and maybe we try this, but in karting you learn the basics for just adapting quicker, to all these situations. So it's the most important thing.
And Aaron, a lot of drivers coming through from Asia now. In the last 5 years, it's really shot up. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't buy the experience with money. You've got to bring them here, and that's what I'm trying to do. Create a path for these young guys to move over and ultimately gain the most experience here. You can do 1 year here, which is equivalent to 5 years back home, So what I'm trying to achieve here is to create a smooth pathway for young drivers to be able to come here to learn.
It's quite a big thing though, isn't it, to move across for a week to not just a different country, different continent, travel all those miles. For an adult, for a grown-up, it would be difficult. But when you see these kids, sometimes you forget they're kids. They're 13, 14 years of age.
I mean, as long as they're passionate about it, it's easy to convince the parents first, and ultimately these are the ones that are paying the bills, and they can see the progress that the kids have made. And when they go back home, they show it immediately. So I think we need to raise the level in Asia, and this is probably the best way to do it right now.
Of course, the drivers are the people that we all see on the track, and they get the star turn, if you like. But I always think that people that aren't involved in motorsport sometimes forget actually it's a massive team sport. The driver is at the head of it all, but as you guys well know, there's so many people that put so many hours into getting that kart on the track in the first place.
Yeah, it's a massive infrastructure. Obviously, we do a lot of work when we're back in the workshop to be able to win races or be at the front of races, working with engines and obviously developing as much as we can. And yeah, the race is actually a very tiny part of it.
Yeah.
It's the easiest part.
It's the easy, yeah. It's
the weekend
the
is
calmest sometimes.
Once
Yeah.
you travel to the track for the weekend, that's when you can relax a little bit, and then this bit comes quite naturally.
Yeah,
That's
I think
what
so. Yeah.
The week is the most stressful part, I find.
Yeah.
Especially the day before you leave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Have I remembered everything? Is that
Yeah,
There's always a problem, or you don't feel quite prepared enough. And
Yeah.
once you're on your way, then you can get everything right. Then
Preparation is everything. Preparation
Yeah.
is key
Yeah.
to winning a race.
We used to say that is you work 5 hours and you drive 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah, and even even when everything is perfect, your kart is flying along, you don't leave it. I mean, you get back there and the guys are looking at everything because you can't leave anything to chance, can you?
there's always something around the corner that
Yeah.
bites you. Always. When the worst thing to think is that you've got it. Everything's cool because it's not.
Yeah.
Something always changes. You always got to be ready to second guess what's coming next, and especially at this level, in these circuits with the grip levels and the temperature, things change rapidly. The tyre degradation, whatever happened in the qualifying session just now will change again in the morning, and it's our job to see that before it happens if we can.
Yeah.
And teach the drivers to adapt to it as well.
I think also with the Yami now, everything is so close. The engines are also very close, which is good for us because it enables us to teach the drivers better.
Yeah.
You can work more with the drivers rather than worrying about the setup of the engine. However, because everything is so close, you have to work so much harder
Yeah.
to find a small difference.
Yeah, but you can focus on getting the driver better
Exactly.
instead of actually
Yeah.
keeping the thing running.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a tenth of a second to people outside of motorsport, it sounds like nothing, but a kart can travel quite a long way in a tenth of a second,
You
can't it?
saw
Hundreds
in
of
a-
a second.
Hundreds,
Yeah,
yeah,
hundreds, yeah,
thousands
yeah.
today.
Or some thousand even.
in
Sometimes.
Super X30, I think the number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 were in half a tenth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's
Which
right.
is good. It's good for the
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah.
It definitely
Absolutely.
is good for the sport.
Sure.
Yeah.
And does that limit the input that you can make, or does it make every little tiny thing more important though? Because yeah,
I think it maximizes your input.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the drivers, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If they make one slightly wrong decision, even if they pull out of the pits at the wrong point,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and they drive into a group of drivers, and you can look at the data and see they missed 2 temps in a lap because they got held up in one corner, and 2 temps today is 8
Yeah.
places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
massive.
Oh,
More,
Then they
massive.
start
It's only
8th
25.
instead of 2nd, and they
Yeah.
crash, and in the weeks, it's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
and that's
It is
all part of
brutal.
obviously our
That's our
management.
job to teach
Yeah,
them
yeah.
to not let any of that happen, and
Yeah.
to put themselves in the right place all the time.
You need to be honest, don't you, as a driver as well? If you did make a mistake, I mean, you can't really escape now, can you? With all the data that people have, if they made an error somewhere or they're not quite getting something right, they have to be honest, don't they? Because
They
that's
all
the only way they're
still
going to
find
learn.
an excuse.
That's what I was waiting for you to say.
Yeah, they try. Yeah, they
Well,
try.
I remember the first time we started really working with data, I think in early 2000s, and there was this one driver, he's actually a professional driver now, drives for Porsche, and he just came in like, data is wrong. Screw the data, take the whole thing off. Yeah, screw it. No, you're breaking through it. No, the data is wrong, believe me. I'm not breaking through it.
Can't be right.
Yeah. Well, he ended up being vice world champion, so he was, but he was definitely wrong.
Yeah.
Who are the drivers that succeed most? Are they the drivers that know their own minds and really kind of almost direct you with the setup? Or are they the guys that listen more? Or is it a combination of both?
This guy will direct you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows what he wants. Absolutely, and he's also very successful. But I think in the end, he needed to be open-minded to adjust to the fact that sometimes you can learn from something like that.
What if you disagree? What if he says one direction and you think
Yeah.
another? Do you have to back off, or do you?
That's his risk to take.
Yeah.
If he
Yeah.
succeeds in the end, then we all have egg on our face. But if he doesn't, he should have listened. There's a handful of different types of drivers that will make the cut. Some will make, they'll make their own decisions, and you have to put your hand up to that.
It's very
Yes.
rare.
Yeah, some I've not looked after more than a handful of drivers that I thought they don't need to be talked to.
Right.
There isn't many.
Yeah.
Most need a lot of help.
Yeah.
And even the best drivers, if they haven't been talked to for a long time, you can find things for them, and if they're smart enough, they'll listen.
And that relationship, not just with you as bosses, but with their individual mechanics, that's really critical, isn't it?
Of course. Like, back to the drivers, I know an example when I was racing myself. If you are a driver and you drive on the track, you are in a completely different way to think and everything. So if you stop and some boss or some team manager or your mechanic tell you something, it's completely different way. When the next weekend you are mechanic, for example, for somebody you help, because you see much more from outside and you are more calm. So for sure my blood pressure on outside is not the same when I'm driving, and in that way it's helping each other, even if somebody really experienced driver. That's how I had that.
Yeah, I tried to say, with the team, for example, and different mechanics, different drivers, the mechanic has to be the friend.
Yes.
I'm the bad guy.
Yes.
I have to tell them what is right, what is wrong.
Yeah.
The mechanic is there to give them a pat on the back and say, oh, okay, next time will be better.
Yeah. And believe on the driver every time.
Yeah, of course.
Every time.
Of course. Must be the friend.
Yeah, both of them, sawing on the legs of the chair. Then
But at
boys never getting
the end of the day, they go to the grid together.
Exactly.
It's a very
The
close,
last word is
They start the race
Yeah.
and finish the race with
It's a
them.
very close
Really close
relationship.
relationship,
Whereas we have to obviously teach 4 or 5 different drivers.
Exactly.
So you can be a little more outside when you are talking to them, and again, speak to everyone in a different manner.
Yeah.
The biggest problems come for the team to try and find the correct mechanic.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in all aspects, they have to be the right temperament. They have to be correct for the drive. Some drivers need to be, they can be told, sternly what they need. Some drivers you have to put your arm round,
Yes.
and they don't respond to being, told properly, and the mechanic has to fit with that, and they have to trust the mechanic
And professional as well. The sport now is gaining momentum so much and becoming more and more professional that you have to find the right people.
Yeah.
For any business, people are the key, and even more so here.
The racing, the qualifying that we've seen so far today, practicing, and this class, somebody's witnessing it for the first time for a full weekend. It's so close, so competitive, isn't it, X30?
Yeah, I think the engine is fantastic. I mean, it's a very level playing. You can see the difference between drivers is very small, and as explained just now, it's up to the driver basically to improve. That's the most important is the driver at the moment. And I think this will develop the younger generation of drivers to be, at the end, top quality drivers when they're finished with karting.
And because it's so close, the racecraft that they learn is exceptional. By the time they may move into cars at 16, sometimes 17 years of age, they have 10 years of racecraft, and they have to learn different things about downforce and rear wings and cars. But that basic racecraft, because it's so close, it is really high.
What I learn in karting is the stay so near, and the karting is, I don't want to say it's a bad word, a contact sport, but that's where you learn really to race. It's basically only in karting that you can really achieve this from really, really young, even from 8 or 9 years old now. The problem in karting is just that they stay too little for me. In my opinion, now some are going to cars way too early. Everybody dreaming is to become Verstappen, but this is not really the best.
Verstappen stayed 2 years in senior karting.
Yeah.
Yes, which
was
also
a massive factor.
Yeah.
Massive factor.
That enabled him to then move quickly through the car formula.
Yeah.
If he went in at 14, you're there for 5 years.
Yeah.
The formulas to make, if you make it, which a small percentage do.
I've had drivers in the past move too early, and they are now nobody. It's very important to wait so that the mind is ready. And
nobody in F1 for years has seen the moves that Verstappen can make.
No, he's a one-off, isn't he? Yeah.
He is, but he's the advert for what this can give you.
Yes.
the way it should be,
And the overtake, he treats. I'm sure he drives an F1 car and races it, and doesn't treat it any differently than his last race in a KZ car.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
The overtaking, they all think it's quite, rash, but it's not. It's
No,
just, it's
precise.
hard.
Yeah,
It's hard.
precise,
It doesn't crash.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but it's good. And it's good for the sport, isn't it? Without Verstappen,
Exactly.
Just, hate to say it, F1's
Watch the last week.
Yeah, and he was the same in the European Formula 3. Formula 3 is not always the easiest category in which to overtake. Not for Max, no problem at all.
Yeah.
You know, all the entertainment, all the best races came involving
Max
Max.
Stroll gave a lot of entertainment last year.
Yeah, for the wrong reasons.
Doing very well now, though, isn't he? Doing very well now. He's learned. But yeah, I mean that's kind of a problem as well. Though Max, you know, what he's done is great for the sport. People are talking about karting, but like you say, there's a danger that other drivers think, oh, well, I can race for 2 years in karts, 1 year in Formula 3, then I'll be in Formula 1. It's not going to happen, is it?
If they make the last 2 years in senior karting,
Yeah.
it's good for us.
Exactly
It's
the
good
age.
because they
It's
should
better.
be
Leaves.
those,
It's better.
It is older
Yeah.
than many others.
Yeah.
The age Verstappen leaves is
17.
actually
Yeah, when he
old,
leaves karting, exactly, he's older than Max.
Just
He's
really
16,
quick in
right?
Formula
And he
1.
started,
It's turning 17.
and he started at 4.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5. Yeah, of
So
course.
he's
Yeah.
actually done 12 years.
Yeah.
Stays a
11
lot.
years.
A
11
long
years.
If
time.
you're counting the years,
But,
in
yeah.
karting,
It's the same in everything. You have to learn the basics. And
Yeah.
this is where you learn the basics.
Don't forget that McLaren always keeps all their drivers for 2 years in senior karting before they move up. They
Yeah.
do that for a reason. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years. 2 years is fine, you know.
Maybe we should
never
run
straight
Formula
from
1 team.
juniors to,
It's
cars.
easier.
What you guys do, I mean, like we've talked about the level of professionalism in the paddock. You know, I go to touring car meetings, Formula 3 meetings. It's a bigger scale, sure, everything's bigger, but basic concepts, what you've got there is exactly the same here. You've got, you know, everything's pristine inside the awning, every detail is checked, everything looks smart, so professional. And that's something that's really changed in the last 10, 20 years, isn't it? Karting was kind of a dad's and lad's sport.
That's what the people expect now.
Yeah.
And the stakes are higher. There's more money going into the sport, and that's why it's all a lot closer because we all have to push so hard.
Mm.
We race each other every week.
Yeah.
So it makes it even harder and tighter because we know what they did last week. They know what we did the week before, and you're all working to that, and it ends up a flat line of very. You know, like you saw today, the time qualifying, we're talking
Close
about
competition.
hundreds and thousands.
Yeah.
You know, like inconceivable amounts of time that do make the difference to the race. You know?
In terms of changes to the sport as well, there's always been a lot of different classes, a lot of different options for you. But what's your opinion of the current state of classes in karting? Are there too many? Is it too confusing, or is it good that there are more options?
We have made a big step in the right direction in the
Yeah.
last 6 months, I would say. And it's taken a new shape. I would say the IME X30 has made a big step in the right direction.
I think the biggest problem is that there's still differences between racing in Europe and racing in your home country in terms of regulations and everything else. And we've got to remember that this is an entry-level formula.
Yeah.
And for somebody new coming in, I would say seems very confusing. It's confusing enough for me, you know, to know what classes
the actual
and
entry into karting is the difficult part
Yeah.
for people when they ring and they to get the license in England, to do their ARCS test,
and to decide which class is the
and
best.
then and for their age, but then the ages all overlap. And
Yeah.
you know, in England, I think in England it's a lot worse than
I
most
think
of
maybe
the other
it's definitely the worst.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So you
Then
guys have your more categories than
you
we do.
race
Yeah.
the SKUs race in
Yeah.
Vegas, and the amount of classes was worse than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There must have been 11 different classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah,
what I am
yeah.
trying to do definitely is giving a structure.
Yeah.
Is
It's
giving a
taken-
stepping
it's a-
stone.
it's a strange
That's
year
what
this
I
year
see,
because
3 or 4 is right.
it has actually
That's
taken
a
a
lot,
better
11
shape.
classes.
So
Up until the end of last year, we were all sort of
And funnily enough, in
Really
the
worried
UK,
about
I
it.
think we have also more grids than anybody, more people interested in racing karting. In club level, we have C finals, you know, we have
Yeah.
60
Junior,
people in junior, 50 people in senior.
Yep.
When, it's not the same maybe in other countries, but
Mm.
it's only Miami with the X30 that has created that.
Mm.
Because it's all so close and because you can't buy an engine for extreme amounts of money because it makes no difference.
Yeah, and it's Aaron, it's for drivers as well. You need a clear structure, but if there are too many classes, there's a danger that it becomes diluted, and you know all the best drivers are not racing together. There's good drivers in this class, good drivers here.
No,
You want them all
especially
together, don't
in
you?
Asia, where we don't have the numbers that you guys have here, and it was a problem where you get very small grids and in a particular championship. And what we're trying to do is work together now with the federation as well to make one main class in the country.
Yeah.
I think that's what we have to achieve to create a big group of drivers and sustain them in karting, because if not, the parents are going to think, if I'm going to spend this amount of money with so few drivers, I'm just going to move on to cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in due time.
Yeah.
Just just what's going to happen. So this product has been good. I think we started this back home last year and take off this year, and let's see. I can see a big future with this.
Good. Let's sort of round up by getting a bit more insight from what you're doing. So Peter, talk us through. I mean, I imagine your air miles are quite high. You're travelling country to country, you get back, you go again, you're packing, the truck is travelling for days. Just give us a typical week in your life. Is there even a typical week?
You really want to know?
Last year I did a 34 race.
Right.
From the 52 weekends. We started for the winter tour and we ended up the Rotax World Final in November, last year in November. So only the December was the time where you have a little bit time to be home. And on the same time, I get a baby, so she's 10 months old now.
So you come here for a rest?
No. I have to change my life a little bit to be more home. But to be honest, for us, I think it's really professional, and not only for me, it's for everybody. And I think for us makes even worse than for the Formula teams, because we don't have so many employees and don't have so big teams to do what they do, for example. And if you see just the CIK classes, they were last weekend in Zuera and this weekend in Adria. It's 1,700 kilometers with the truck, and the rules in Europe how you can drive with the truck and build up the tents and take off the tents and drive everywhere and prepare the material or bring new material. It's close to impossible, you know. And then this is also for a big team who is doing cars. First of all, they don't have that strict racing calendar, and secondly, they have like 50 employees and not 5. So, but my life, we try to be everywhere, to be honest. Now is one of my mechanics is in Adria, and my friends, and some of them testing in home, and I'm here, and we try to be everywhere, but for that you have to have a really good team that I have at the moment.
To rely on.
To rely on and let them work, but it's not always happening in the karting, I think.
Does that sound familiar? Hectic lifestyle.
Yeah, very, yeah.
And my family really helped me on that. You know, the background is really important, I think, for everybody.
Very important.
And it's at home everything okay and all organized and everything in the right place and everything. It's not always easy, and especially for the wife and everything. It's for sure it's difficult.
Thank
but
God for FaceTime.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine sounds the same as Peter. With our little boy was born. He's 1 year next 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
But fortunately, my wife her family also run a team in England.
Okay, right.
You are fortunate.
She understands.
She understands
this problem. She understands why I work the hardest for the family, and when I'm home, I make time. I spend 1 day every week with my little boy, and then I work, and then you prepare, and then you're away. And
I think that's the thing, isn't it? I'm the same, doing an awful lot of travel, but when you are home, you really make the most of that time, don't you?
Definitely.
You have to. You can't.
So you never relax.
No, not really.
I think
the weeks and the months. The worry is the weeks and the months come and go so far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think the understanding they can see the passion. It's not just a business.
Yeah, exactly.
It's passion for us as well. We've been doing it all of our lives.
Otherwise, you will not do it.
Exactly, and that's what they can see. And fair play that they do support us, because without that would be even more difficult.
Yeah, so it's a good point, isn't it? Why would you put all these hours in? Why would you travel? It's because actually you're passionate about it. It's kind of a hobby as well. We're doing what we love.
If we don't have the passion, a bit of passion, is very difficult to do this so hard, just for the money or what else. The passion is still the things which is really important to run this as a work.
I think if you work out the hourly wage, it's worse than the supermarket.
Probably,
Take a job on the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
I did it one time for my dad. I was like,
There you go.
I mean, I wrote down all the hours that I worked and what he pays me, and then I was like, that's not good.
Not a good conversation to have.
I don't know if that's legal.
But Nick, could you really see yourself in an office with a suit, tie, doing the same job every day?
Absolutely.
The right wage.
Yeah, and about you, Aaron, it's a pretty hectic lifestyle for you as well, particularly with more travel for you. I mean, we're only coming from Europe.
Yeah, but like you said, it's a passion. I enjoy this. I used to race here. It's nice coming back and bringing bringing young drivers and seeing them all, trying to get them to improve, and if you actually achieve the goal, it's all, how do you say it pays off for
Yeah.
all the effort. You know, it's not just the money, but seeing them progress. I think it's something money can buy. So
He only sits on a plane though. We drive with him.
Yeah.
it's a long
My
journey.
journey here was longer than his journey.
That's true. Yeah.
No,
First
it's
class
a
as
long
well.
flight, he knows. He goes to Singapore a lot.
Yeah,
It's a long
exactly. Yeah,
flight.
long flight. Yeah, a long flight.
Yeah, we've all seen a lot of movies, haven't we? I think that's the
Yeah.
on
Many
plane.
times.
The worst thing is when you're flying and like you run out of movies to watch. You know,
Yes.
you're
Yeah,
like,
I've seen that one.
Or you
yeah.
know how much you're gonna fly that month. You're like, okay, this flight I can watch one or two
Yeah,
movies.
because they
And the
never
next flight I
change.
can watch one or two.
Always the same film.
Well, thanks for all your hard work, because you do. I mean, like, you do make a huge difference, and the drivers, I know, probably don't always show it, but they do, I'm sure, appreciate it. And without the work that you and the teams do, then none of us could be here enjoying the racing. So, on that note, thank you. Cheers, and best of luck for the weekend.
Thank
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi, Steve.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.